Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and now we are in chapter number 7. We are going to talk about 3D inside Nuke. And that's one of that's why I really love Nuke, because we can bring 3D objects and we can create amazing stuff using all that. So obviously this movie, it's about how to use the 3D system inside Nuke, and compositing is another topic. So remember, if you want to keep track of all the videos that we have here, just go to our YouTube channel or go to our website, and there you will find all the different parts of this training session. So now let's get started. First thing, we have something here. We have the same footage that we have been using for a while. So now let's go and click on this little cube that we have here. If you click here, you have all the 3D tools that you can use inside Nuke. And as you can see, we have geometry, we have lights, we have modify, we have shaders, and so on. We have a lot of different things. Well, first of all, we need to know where are our objects, and now you can see that they are right here. And now we need to switch to our 3D view. And in order to do that, you just go here and change from 2D to 3D. Okay, you can also press Tab or V, and that way you can come back. If you press Tab, you go back there, and then you press V, you can come to the 3D view. So now it doesn't look like a 3D view, right? Well, that's because we are looking at the center of this. So I will press Alt, and then I left click, and that way I can kind of move a little bit, and now you can see that I have something going on there. And that's my 3D space, my 3D area. Now, if you press Alt and then you press right click, you can actually move like that, rotate your camera. So now we have our camera in 3D, and now you can move. And if you press the middle mouse button, you can actually go go closer or farther away from the center. And then there we have two two grids. The first one is this little square that you can see here. Actually, let me go, and you can actually come here and you have the default camera, then you have the 3D view, but you can also go here and select top, and that way you can see this 3D view. If imagine that you are in a helicopter, so you can see the floor here, and then you can see the two grids that I was talking about. So we have this one at the center, which is kind of giving us an idea of where the center of this 3D space is. We have it right here. Then I can go back here again to 3D normal, my perspective view, and so we can move around here. And now let's bring something here. I need an object. In order to bring an object, you can go here to the 3D section, and then you have geometry. You can create a card, for example, and there we go. It's a simple card. Now let me just select this, and you can see that we have another node here called card number 1. And now take a look that this node is kind of in another color, and we have different shape. That's because that way we can identify right away what type of node we are using. And if I go, for example, here and I select now a cylinder, you're going to see that I have a cylinder, and it contains the same type of shape, a different color. But all the 3D objects are kind of rounded, all right? Now we have two objects. I have the 3 axis, and then I have Y, which allows me to move up and down in this case. Then I have Z, which allows me to go left or right. And then I have the Z axis, X left to right, and Z back to the back or to the front. All right. Now I can select my objects by just clicking or dragging, and then if I drag and include this guy into my selection, I will get it. Then I can select both. For example, I can select both objects at the same time. Then I can move one or the other. That's what we can do with this tool. We are in the move operation right now. And now let's go, and as you can see right now, we have two objects and we can see them right now. But if I go to my 2D view, they are gone, and all I can see is this object. So why is happening? Why is that happening? Well, because obviously these guys are kind of are empty right now. They are not connected to anything. We need to connect them, and then we can actually connect all these objects with some other nodes, and that way we will be building our network, and the goal of this is obviously having something inside this composition. So now what should we do? First, I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna call another node called the scan line render. So this one is gonna allow me to bring all these objects together, all my 3D objects. I can bring them all together using this node. So I can, for example, take this read and I'm gonna connect that to my background because it's asking me for a background here. Then I have another option called camera. So I don't have a camera right now, and we need one. So you can come here one more time and you can bring a camera, and there we go. Again, it's rounded, but it's giving us a different shape so that we know that this is a camera. So now I can connect the camera to the camera field right there. Then we have another option called object to scan, or object or a scene, excuse me. Then I can select, for example, the cylinder, and there we go. So now we have all this connected. I can take that into my viewer, and there we go. Okay, we have nothing. That's great. Why is that? Well, let's see where our camera is located. So I'm gonna go again to my 2D, my 3D view, and you can see that I can see my objects with my default camera. But if I go to my camera number 1, which is this one that I have here, actually I'm just gonna rename it. I'm gonna say Carlos camera 1, or just Carlos camera. So now you can see that I have this name. If I go to my camera, I can see Carlos camera. If I click in here, you can see that all I can see is this color. All right, that's because I am looking in at this cylinder, and I am inside this cylinder, and I don't have a light inside here. So that's probably why we are looking at everything in kind of black color. So what I can do is now, because I'm selecting this camera, I can move like that, and I am kind of going outside of this. So if we go back here to 2D view, you can see that, wow, still we are having the same problem. We don't see anything. Let's go and switch again to our 3D view, and let's bring something else. I'm just gonna take this background, I'm gonna place it right here, move my viewer, and let's take a light. Okay, I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna bring a light. Here we go. We have a point light, or just a light, it doesn't matter really. And so now I can take this, I'm just gonna switch to my default camera, and you can see that I have this light right here, and I can move it like that, and now you can start to see that I have something in this area, and I'm getting all my shadows and my highlights, which is actually what I want. Now here inside the 3D area, you're gonna see that we have the grid, and we have this little line that is pointing right at the grid and is letting us know where is the position of this object in relation of all the rest of the objects. So now we have the camera, we can come here and move it like that, and we can see better our objects now. And now if we go back, okay, same thing, it's black. Why? Because if we go back here, you will see that Carlos camera is still right there at the center. Okay, so now why is that? Because we're switching here. For example, I can go and switch to Carlos camera, and I can go back, but at the moment if I move, I'm using again this my default camera, and Carlos camera is still in that option. Now we have a lot of tools here that will allow you to manipulate your cameras and manipulate your objects, your selections. For example, if you go here, you can switch from node selection to vertex selection, face selection, and that way you can select objects or portions of your objects. Like I can go here and select vertex, and I can select vertices. I can go here and faces, select faces of my object, and I'm selecting only faces. You can see all these triangles that I'm selecting, and obviously go to object selection, and I can do that. Obviously we can select the camera because it's an object, and then I can drag this camera, and if I drag the camera like this, selecting my C axis or my C direction or my C dimension, I am moving now the camera, and now you can see that if I switch to default, I'm getting this, and then I switch to Carlos camera, and now I can see actually this grid. So now let's go back to our 2D, and there we go. We have something. Now we can see our cylinder, and right now it's acting just like it looks like a mask. Okay, we don't see anything going on here. We don't see any shadows. We don't see lights. We what we have is only this kind of cylinder, and that's really boring. Now if you are in the 2D view, you cannot select this object. Okay, you need to go inside the 3D view, or actually the other thing that you can do is select your cylinder, and now if you select the cylinder, you can take that and you can move it like this, and now you're going to be able to select your object. And that's one thing to keep in mind, because if you don't have that selected, you are actually not in 3D mode. Okay, it doesn't matter that you're dragging or doing anything, you're not going to be able to select it. So click on it, and that way you will be able to use that option. And this it's a really nice tool, because obviously sometimes you don't want to be kind of coming back and forward from 2D to 3D in order to place your object. So what you have to do is go to 3D and set up the first movements of your camera, place your objects wherever you want, and then just come back to the 2D view and keep moving until you get the placement that you are looking for. Now another thing will be just double click, select, and now you can go here and you can change, for example, the radius of your object. I can go here and set 0.5, and I can change the shape of this object without going, or without selecting my object in here, without going to my 3D view. I can change the size and also the rows and columns, but if you want to see that, you have to go to the 3D view, and then you will go here and change that, for example, to 10, and then we have a lower resolution in our object. Same thing here, you can change that to 10, we have lower resolution. Something else is that, okay, we have inside this node, you can display the textured object, or you can only see a wireframe version inside the 3D view. If you go back to 2D, you're still gonna have the same kind of result. All right, it doesn't matter if you change that to solid here, it's not gonna do much. So go to 3D, and then you can select the textured version. Now we don't have a texture right now, and if you want to bring a texture, all you need to do is bring another image, and you can place that here. For example, I'm gonna go and select, not from here, I'm gonna select my color wheel, and I can connect the color wheel to my cylinder, for example. Now you can see that it looks like nothing, we have nothing here, but if I look at this, now you can see my color wheel taking place in with the shape of this guy, and that's really powerful. Now another thing we can do is actually bring other type of objects from another program. For example, I can bring an OBJ file, which actually I happen to have right here. I can take this guy and I can bring it right here, and Nuke is going to try to figure out what to do. And there you go, we have an object here in 2D, an object in our read node. Now if I try to use this object, for example, I'm gonna disconnect the cylinder and I try to connect this one, you can see that I can't, okay, because actually I brought this object as a 2D object. It's a read node. If you want to bring 3D objects, what you need to do is come to this area, or obviously just press tab, and then you can select a read geo object, which is this one here, read geo, and that way you can now bring another object. So what we need is select this object, go to the options, go to file, click on this area, and now I need to look for that object. So what I'm going to do is it's easier for me if I just click that. I'm going to bring the monster one more time, the same, just to show you the way I import objects when I don't know where they are. So I take this, double click on it, I just Control A so I can select the path. I copy this, and then I go to my read geo, and I go here and paste this, and that way I can bring my object. So I can delete this one, and now I can connect the object to this other option, and now you can see that I have a shape of somebody here. It looks like a silhouette of one guy, and that's actually my 3D object that I am bringing. So the same thing, I can take the cylinder and I can connect the color wheel to this one, and now you can see this kind of cool effect we are getting. Now let's do something else. I'm going to take this and I'm going to show you the object inside the 3D view. So we're going to go here, and there we go. This is our object, and this is one object that my dad actually created a long time ago. So we have this object right here, and if we go back to our 2D, we don't have we can see his all the details. All we see is just that flat surface. So how can we change that behavior? Well, I can bring, for example, I'm gonna bring the texture of this object. Obviously, that has nothing to do with UVs, and the texture is not going to be placed correctly, but hopefully it's going to give me an idea of the areas of this object. So there you go. You can see that we have that, but still it looks kind of flat. I can see more definition because of the shapes that we have inside this object, but still I don't get what I really want. So another thing that we can do is, oops, I don't want to delete that. I have a light here, but the light is not connected. That's why we don't have shadows. That's why this object looks so, without that 3D look. So how can we connect the light? If I try, I can come here and I cannot connect the light directly to my skyline render. What I need is another object called the scene. Okay, so I'm gonna come here and select my scene. And now the scene allows me to connect lights. For example, I can connect a light here. And now inside the scene, I can actually bring now these other objects, and I can connect, for example, this other monster here. And now instead of connecting here my object, I actually have another option that says, well, it says object or scene. So I'm going to select the scene, and then I'm going to select my background one more time, and I'm going to connect this. Let's wait to see what happened. And now you can see that I'm actually looking at the shape of this guy. I can see all the polygons and all the definition, the shadows of this object. And like I told you, I have this texture that is actually not giving me the result that I want. So we probably can come here and select a constant. And let's see if we can get some kind of color for this guy. Switch. I'm gonna click here. I'm gonna select some sort of color, and it's gonna give me something flat still because it's a constant. But that's the thing. I mean, we need to place the textures in the right way in order to see the shadows, and I have all this empty area of white. Let's double click on the light, and now here we have different type of lights. We have the point light, we have the directional light, and then if I change that, you can see how the lighting is kind of changing, and we have a better result right now. Then we have the color of the light. I can click here and I can change this, or I can even select my eyedropper, okay, this thing, and now I can click on this region. For example, I can control click, and now I have the color of the background for my light, and it's giving me that kind of result. It's kind of merging this because that's the color that I'm getting. Then we have the intensity, and I can actually increase the intensity, and you can see how my light is kind of bringing this object. All right, then I can select my read geo object, and I can come, for example, to the rotate axis, and I can rotate it 45 degrees. And you can see how this object is gonna change after the calculations, right? So then I can take this one and rotate it 45 degrees, and same thing, I can take this and set it to 0, and actually let's say minus 45, and then we can bring it a little bit farther away so that it looks like more like kind of interacting with Rodrigo. All right, and that's basically the workflow of 3D. If remember, if you want to learn more about Nuke, you're more than welcome in our website. We have complete training on Nuke and some other software and some other topics you're free to go and ask for more information. For now, that's it. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, and feel free to click on the I like the like button or subscribe to our channel. For now, that's it. Thank you very much. I will see you in our next chapter. Bye bye.